live update for what we can expect from the weather the rest of the evening. Take a look at all of the fires that we've got going across the region, as well as go into a little bit more detail of what that next weather maker is going to be like. So I'm going to flip the camera around, show you where we're going to start off, which is with that wildfire risk and really the wildfire map. And we'll get started with this here in about 30 seconds to a minute. So if you can give me just a little bit of time, we'll get started with this here momentarily. All right, I think we are good to go there. And we're good to go on the other side too. So we'll get started with this. I'll try and go through this relatively quickly, but there is a lot to go through, especially when it comes to our fires. Really over the last, say, 3 to 4 days, we've seen fires erupt across not only western Montana, but across parts of eastern Washington, Idaho, and this has really kept things very active. So it's been a very busy day, or a busy couple of days when it comes to fire weather for the northern Rockies and then into parts of the Pacific Northwest. So we'll go through this here, moving forward. But if you have any questions or comments as we go throughout this update, certainly feel free to ask those. I'll keep an eye on the chat section here on the other screen, and then I'll try and answer them as we go along. But also let us know where you're tuning in from this evening. Overall, outside of the fires, it is pretty nice out there. It's a great way to end the week. Temperatures a little bit warm for some, in the 80s and low 90s this afternoon, but northwest Montana, we've seen those in the 70s. So let's just jump right into the fires. We do still have red flag warnings down in parts of southwest Montana until about 9 o'clock this evening, but here is a look at that wildfire map. You see a big cluster of mostly smaller fires up here in northwest Montana. The only ones that are really more than about 100 acres, which are actually more in that 1,500 to 2,000 acre range. The Sunset and the Lightning Creek fires. We have a bunch down into the mountains just west of the state line. We've got the Meyer, Island Creek, Big Bear, Rush fires, and then also the Rock fire down here, kind of in central Idaho, which has put out a lot of smoke over the last few days. It's been a bit less active today as compared to yesterday and the day before that. But let's go right into our big troublemakers when it comes to fires. The Horn Fire, the Bivens Creek, Cloud Rest, and the Windy Rock fires. We've been able to see all of these fires at some point, whether it be on one of our cameras or an Montana Department of Transportation camera. And some of them have been quite explosive in their activity. So I'm going to go through at least what the latest updates are. Right now, a lot of these are estimates, especially with the Windy Rock, Cloud Rest, and Bivens Creek, because of how explosive they've developed today and how much activity we've seen on them. So, Windy Rock fire, let me get the latest update on that, refresh the pages, make sure nothing new. This is all information coming right in from the DNRC and the INSEE web map, but it's taking a little bit of time to get open. But let's go right into the Windy Rock fire. This is north of Garrison, kind of north and east of the Drummond area. Estimated right now on the Windy Rock fire around 500 acres, 0% contained. We've been able to see this from our Butte camera for most of the day. We saw it last night as well, and it's gone through a pretty rapid amount of growth over the last 24 hours. So again, estimated at 500 acres. Wouldn't surprise me right now if that actually goes up later, just based on some of the heat signatures and the activity from satellite imagery we've seen on it. Now, tracking further south, let's go down to the Cloud Rest and the Bivens Creek fires. These are both in the Tobacco Root Mountains. Yesterday, the Cloud Rest fire was the big one of the day. We saw a lot of activity on it, some big smoke plumes, some pyrocumulus clouds on it. Right now, that one is estimated around 500 acres as well. 0% contained. Just to its south, the Bivens Creek fire is estimated around 250 acres. This has probably been our most active fire today, and maybe even with yesterday as well. We have seen some large pyrocumulus clouds from our Dillon camera throughout the day. So if you happen to be watching at 5 o'clock during that first weather hit that I did, I was pointing out this is the fire that we're talking about. A very significant type of growth and development with the types of pyrocumulus clouds we were seeing on top of the smoke plume. That really indicates some very high levels of fire activity, maybe even extreme fire activity. So things have calmed down a little bit, at least, and we'll look at the Dillon camera here in a minute, so kind of a comparison to what it was earlier. At least as of my last look at it, it is much quieter, though it is still burning plenty. Both of those fires have been. So we'll move down to the Horn Fire, which is right down here near Reynolds Pass. We've been able to see that one pretty well from the Montana Department of Transportation camera over the last few days. Not so much today. It seems like a lot of the activity has quieted down on it. The evacuation orders for areas east of US 87 and south of 280, or sorry, Highway 87 and US 287, east and south of that, have been allowed to drop. So we're back into that set phase. But that fire is currently the largest in our area, estimated around 2,260 acres. So right now that is our largest fire in western Montana, and it's close. It might actually be the largest fire we've seen all season. Our previous largest is actually the Saw Log fire that happened back in, what was it, late March, early April, back over here towards the between Wisdom and Wise River areas. So we're right on the edge of potentially having a new largest fire, at least within western Montana, for the season. But I believe our largest fire in the state right now is the Mission Butte fire, and it's this one down here south and east of Billings. That is estimated just under 6,100, or just over 6,100 acres, 0% containment on that. All of these fires out here are more grassland fires as compared to the forest fires that we're dealing with, again, through the Tobacco Root Mountains, Windy Rock fires, and a lot of these up here into northwest Montana, northern Idaho, and just Idaho in general. So that's a big talking point with that. If you have any photos or videos of those fires, especially those down towards the Tobacco Root Mountains or the Windy Rock, feel free to share those with us at nbcmontana.com/chime-in. I know we've received quite a few photos from viewers down in that area of the smoke plume, those pyrocumulus clouds, and they've been really quite impressive. So I think I'm going to work on trying to get a little gallery together, or at least a social post to show some of those fire pictures that viewers like you have been sending in. So that's something I'll work on later on this evening. But continuing on, this is a look at the satellite imagery, and at the end of this, you won't see it as well because clouds have started to move in with southwesterly flow, but you see the smoke plume that was moving across from the Bivens Creek fire, as well as the Cloud Rest fire. You see a little bit of that smoke right in there. Places like Pony, Harrison, Three Forks, back over to Manhattan, you've been getting hit hard with a large amount of smoke, especially earlier on this afternoon. That was definitely helping to reduce air quality. So those who are sensitive to wildfire smoke, if you're anything like me, would have been struggling potentially in a big way with the amount of smoke coming in. This even moved its way in towards Bozeman. The majority of that smoke stayed a little bit further off to the north and west, but still, that was a big issue earlier on this afternoon. So going back out to the live view from our Dillon camera, let's see, it's trying to focus in on that and it's struggling. So let me adjust this really quick. There we go. I think it's gotten locked back in. Earlier in the day, it was very clear where the fires were. You can still see them pretty well, but it's not like we're seeing these huge plumes. So over here on the left side of the screen, this is the Cloud Rest fire, the biggest plume right there, just where my finger is pointing. And then over here you have the Bivens Creek fire, and you can see that kind of stretching through there and the smoke plume going off to the north and east, but it looks like it's kind of moving off to the left in this image. That's where the smoke's going to continue to go. We'll keep a very close eye on this camera over the next couple of days to see how these fires behave. The fire weather risk will be starting to go down, though, as we go throughout the night. And here's a look across the area. We can even see, and this is the Butte camera, that right there, pretty hard to tell. The contrast isn't particularly great, but that is the Windy Rock fire, and this is looking from the east ridge of Butte north, beyond Garrison and up into the mountains there north of Interstate 90. So this is probably, as the crow flies, 50, 60 miles that we're watching this fire from. These two down here a little bit closer, maybe in that 30 to 45 mile range. But outside of the fires, it's actually been a very nice day, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies as we take those live looks across the area. And that's going to continue to be the case through the evening. But again, red flag warnings that do include places like, I'll count Butte in this, though you're right on the edge of it, but Butte, Dillon, down to Lima, and really areas east from there, and the Tobacco Root Mountains, dead center of that red flag warning through 9 p.m. this evening. But again, we are starting to see conditions improve. The winds have started to calm down. We saw those earlier, 20 to 30 miles per hour. Most areas, we've dropped that down to about 10 to 15 miles per hour on the high side. Part of the reason we're starting to see those winds change just a little bit is this next weather maker that's going to be rolling in. You see this trough of low pressure, the spinning area moving into British Columbia. That is going to bring some bigger changes to our forecast, potentially as early as tonight, but more likely into Saturday. You see this plume of moisture, southwesterly flow is going to be rolling into our region, and this is going to bring us not only an increase in moisture, which is going to help the fire risk, but it's also going to bring in more clouds, cooling the temperatures down, and some rainfall chances. So for tomorrow, most of the area is probably going to be in that 10 to 40% chance of some showers and thunderstorms, maybe a bit of enhancement down into southwest Montana for the afternoon towards Bozeman. I think that's still going to be a little bit more on the isolated side, but my focus for at least some, I'll say, appreciable rainfall, wetting rains over 1/10 of an inch, will be in far northwestern Montana, where we see the bulk of that moisture sliding into. So places from Thompson Falls, Trout Creek up to Heron, and then north from there we'll have that best chance for showers and maybe some afternoon thunderstorms. But you see back into parts of Washington, the Idaho Panhandle, we're in that 70 to 90% range of some showers. I think Eureka, that might be a little bit low on that number. I think we may be more in that 50 to 60% range. But even Kalispell, Polbridge, about 30 to 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, but the greatest coverage, again, was going to be across parts of Sanders and Lincoln counties for Saturday morning specifically, but those may linger into the afternoon as well. So elsewhere, again, those precipitation chances in that range of about 20 to 40% for most locations, though Bozeman upwards to about 50% tomorrow afternoon as we get some more moisture in. Sunday, I think, gives us our best chance for a little bit more scattered shower and thunderstorm activity, and some of those could be a bit on the stronger side as well. So let's go into Future Tracker, time this all out. For tonight, we're going to be quiet, mostly clear, partly cloudy skies, though after midnight we will start to see those clouds increasing in northwest Montana, and you see those showers starting to encroach into places like Troy, the Yak Valley, Libby, maybe even into, you say, Bull Lake. We'll see that continuing to move off to the north and east. Then we get up into places like Eureka. Libby gets a little more involved with those showers. This is looking in that 10 to 11 o'clock period. And then I think as we get into the late morning, Kalispell, Flathead Valley, into Glacier National Park, we'll see a little bit more of that. It becomes a bit more dispersed as we get into the afternoon. Still looking at a bit more enhancement, maybe even towards Polson, down through Alberton, Superior, St. Regis, Haugen, into the afternoon hours. So if you're planning to go to the Hiawatha Trail tomorrow to do a little bit of a bike ride, just be aware, it could be talking about some showers or weak thunderstorms. Then we get into the afternoon, and that's where we're going to transition over to more thunderstorm type activity. You see a few of those down in southwest Montana, especially here closer to Deer Lodge, at least at this particular forecast model is showing. I think maybe Bozeman, I was saying about 50%, that may be more in that 30% range. I think 50 might be a hair high, but that's something we'll keep a close eye on. This is just one model run, so the blend of models is showing maybe a little bit more coverage down here from Ennis back up to Bozeman and Big Sky. We'll see things quiet down Saturday evening. I can't rule out with another disturbance rolling in, some showers, maybe a weak thunderstorm rolling into parts of southwest Montana for Sunday morning. But the afternoon is going to be that focus. You see that push of southwesterly flow continuing throughout the day. And you see some of these thunderstorms starting to develop in the early afternoon hours right along the Montana-Idaho state line, closer to Salmon, moving across. And again, these are the ones that could be a little bit stronger, produce some brief heavy rainfall. Gusty winds, say 40 to 55 miles per hour, can't be ruled out. And maybe even a severe gust over 58 miles per hour will be possible as well. This model's, again, being a little bit more aggressive for Sunday afternoon as compared to Saturday afternoon. And we could see those moving in right over, and if this is the case, this could be some very good rainfall right over the Cloud Rest and the Bivens Creek fire, but we're just going to have to watch and see where these thunderstorms do develop. That said, even though our fire weather risk is down as we head into Saturday and Sunday, it is not zero. So we could see some beneficial rainfall in a few locations. It's really going to be hit and miss. But we could also see new fire starts because of lightning. It's still plenty dry out there. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. We'll take the moisture where we can get it. The only problem is we may be getting lightning, which we have seen multiple fires start because of lightning, including the Horn fire. So fingers crossed we don't have new fire starts and we can actually get some improvement, at least maybe some containment on some of those bigger fires that we've been dealing with the last 2 days there in the Tobacco Roots and then down towards Reynolds Pass. But we're just going to watch that, see how things go. Storms move into Bozeman as we get into the mid-afternoon, early evening hours. That continues through the night or through the evening. Overnight, things start to quiet down once again. A few showers maybe try to work its way into the Missoula and Bitterroot valleys. Out of this storm system, it does look like west central Montana may miss out on the majority of the rainfall. Still going to be some spotty showers and maybe some thunderstorms, but I don't think it's quite as likely as what we'll see Saturday morning and midday in northwest Montana, and then both afternoons into southwest Montana. Overall, though, once that first wave moves through in northwest Montana, I think we're looking pretty quiet. So Saturday's shaping up to be a little bit on the wet side if you're heading out to the northwest Montana fair, but I think as you get into Saturday evening and then especially Sunday as we finish off the fair, should stay dry and likely looking at partly cloudy skies for the afternoon hours. Now, so Felix, why is it so smoky in Helena? I will actually jump back to that really quick because I can answer that one relatively quickly, and a big reason for that is going to be not this fire. It is actually going to be from the Windy Rock fire. So this one is pushing smoke off to the north and east, and that is bringing that plume of smoke right into the Helena area. So let's see if I can get to that camera. Actually, you know what I'll do? Doing this on the fly here. So it's a little bit tough to see. The contrast isn't great, but right over here is that Windy Rock fire. This is looking from Butte, but that whole smoke plume from that fire is moving off to the kind of the east-northeast, and that is heading right in the direction of Helena. So that's where the majority of your smoke is coming from right now, and that is north of the Garrison area. North of Garrison, northeast of Deer Lodge, and west of McPass. You could also be getting a little bit of smoke from the south from the Cloud Rest and Bivens Creek fires, but that is far less likely because that's going much further to your east. But with the amount of smoke that those are putting off, I wouldn't rule it out. And then on top of that, we've got smoke coming in from the Island Creek fire, the Meyer fire, as well as Big Bear and Rush fires, and this is all going to be moving off in this rough general direction. But a long story short, the Windy Rock fire is the biggest cause of the smoke there in the Helena Valley. So finishing off here, I do have one last graphic to share. Again, if you have any kind of last-minute questions, feel free to ask those. Got really smoky quick here. Appreciate the update. Again, glad to be able to share that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm glad I had the answer for you on that one. Over the next few days, though, we will see temperatures falling below average for most of the region outside of southwestern Montana. that's going to be for Sunday, but watch once we get into the early parts of next week, temperatures are back above average, which for Missoula is about 84 to 85 degrees. We are on that downtrend on those temperatures. We will see most of the region following a similar trend. Temperatures will be warming into the middle parts of next week and likely staying above average, anywhere from, say, 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what we would be normally this time of the year. Right now, it doesn't look like we're seeing 100-degree temperatures across the region, but low to mid-90s can't be ruled out. So certainly stay hydrated into the middle and early middle parts of next week. Can't rule out some isolated showers and thunderstorms each afternoon, though I don't think it's going to be quite as high or as widespread as what we're going to see for Saturday and Sunday. And even on Saturday and Sunday, I don't think everybody's going to see rainfall, and it's not going to be a washout for the entirety of the day. You'll just need to stay kind of alert to those changing weather conditions. This will be a great reminder. Download the NBC Montana weather app. You can have that interactive radar right at your fingertips, especially, if you're out and about. Now, granted, if you don't have cell service, like you're camping or something like that, that makes it a little trickier, but it's still good to have on you. And then, of course, stay tuned to our forecast. We'll have the latest updates here at 10 o'clock, so tune in for our live broadcast there. And then, of course, this weekend, we'll get the latest news and weather updates with Phil Howard and Sophia Ward. So I think that's pretty much everything I had. Really just kind of the key headlines. Fire weather conditions are sticking around. We have red flag warnings that remain in place for southwest Montana through about 9 o'clock this evening. Conditions, at least from the fire front, will be improving. We won't see it go down to like low conditions, but we will see more moisture, slightly cooler temperatures, and a bit more rainfall, though that rainfall unfortunately does come with the threat of more lightning strikes. But we'll take the rain any way we can get it, just keeping the fingers crossed that we don't have to deal with any new lightning-started fires, because we've had a pretty quiet fire weather season up until the last 3 to 4 days, and just like that, it turned on a dime, and we've gone from very few fires to a couple of very large fires and very active fires that have caused some pretty significant problems, primarily up in the mountains, though we have had those evacuation orders there in far southwestern Montana from the Horn Fire. So again, those have been lifted, but still, we are in fire season. We'll have to keep a close eye on things. So again, thank you all for tuning in this evening. Stay safe this weekend. Have a great one. And I will see you all on the next one. If you have any photos or videos of the fires, maybe the storms this weekend, feel free to share those with us at nbcmontana.com/chime-in. I'll see you all next week on another one of these. Have a great evening, a great weekend. See you next time with NBC Montana. I'm meteorologist Mitchell Coombs.